Okay, hello. I think we are live. I think we're live. I'm going to check on the good old LinkedIn, make sure. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, we're live right now. Hello, folks. It's so wonderful to be here this evening where we are setting up the next 90 days for you and your business. It is going to be an absolutely jam-packed 1 hour long session. So I'm going to talk you through what you need. I'm going to make sure that everybody who's watching joined us and that they can see what's going on nice and clearly. So let me just check that with everybody now. There we go. So I think I think that you can see and hear me and that it's all working in sync. So that's really, really good. I can see myself on 3 or 4 different screens. I'm going to start now and make sure that we use this time very effectively. So if you're here on LinkedIn, please say hello in the chat feed so that I can see that you're here. Let's make sure that we've got a nice Heidi, hi, says Rihanna. Let's make sure that we've got a really nice community driven feel to this session, because this is a workshop. I know it's for free, but it is absolutely going to be something brilliant for you to sit down and work on. So we've got Rihanna here. Great to have you with us, Rihanna. Rihanna is the community manager of the Collective of Extraordinary Women. She looks after all of the clients in the collective and makes sure that their accountability is up to date, that they are feeling really on track with what they're doing, and they feel like they are connected to the community. So Rihanna, if you are watching, let me know whether or not you can hear and see me at the same time. It's been quite a while since I've set up this, since I've had this set up, so I want to make sure that it's working okay. Right, so the next 90 days then, today's session, we are going to be focusing on getting really clear on what's coming up between now and the end of the year. So what you need to make sure that you are not going to be distracted, so that you are sat here without distractions and you have carved out this time to actually work. You're going to get a lot done during this session. It's really important that you carve this time out. You're going to need to make sure that you have your calendar, that you have your phone with your planner, that you have whatever it is that you use to plan usually. And if you're going to tell me that you don't usually plan, well, then you're in the right place. This is the perfect place for you. So get your phone out, get your planner out, make sure that you've got absolutely everything you need to take notes and to stay focused. You need a nice, clear, tidy space to work. So unlike me, looking left, right, and center and doing all of the bits and pieces, I've done this a million times before, probably, and I'm all good with this. But you need a nice, clear space, free from distraction. A cuppa. I've got my cup of tea. You might not think that's particularly professional, but you know, it's the end of a long working day today. I have been coaching clients, I've been onboarding, I've been working very hard, and I'm going to allow myself a cup of tea whilst we're sat here together. So you can too. And 60 minutes of focus. We've got Matilde is here. Brilliant to see you, Matty. Rhoda's here as well. And Lisa, great to see you on the StreamYard link. Great to have you with us. Great to see those of you on LinkedIn with us as well. Okay, so where does this come from? The idea of 90 days for planning your business comes from the book Traction. This is what I use with my academy students. It is a business Bible as far as I'm concerned. It's written for slightly larger organizations. So if you're a larger organization, it's great. When I say larger, you know, 10 to 50 employees, that's still a small size business. But you can use it as a solopreneur. It is absolutely brilliant. So I highly recommend that you get that if you haven't got it already. In the chat feed, just let me, I've frozen in no sound. I can hear you, but can't see you. Okay, bear with me. What I might do in the In the StreamYard, it seems to be working fine. Just let me know, folks, in StreamYard, if it's working okay. Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, it's working okay. So if you've registered for this, perhaps getting into the StreamYard is the way for you to see this so that you don't glitch out. I think that's going to be really important. Okay, so for those of you who've made it into StreamYard, you've got the absolute prize seats where you are right there, which is really, really good. Well done. Well done, you lot. Well done. Okay, so bear with me. You know what you need. And very quickly, very, very quickly, just a little bit about who I am, because some of you might not know me already. I'm not going to be selling anything to you on this webinar, but I do think that you need to understand who you're being taught by. So I'm a master accredited coach. I am a business owner of about 4 years. I own a couple of businesses, one which is a retreats business with one of my former clients and now partners. I am a mum to a beautiful 11-year-old boy who is autistic, and we face new challenges every day, but that is a big part of my life and I love it. I'm a nervous breakdown survivor, so everything that I'm teaching from a place of experiencing it myself, overcoming a lot of mindset hurdles, procrastination. I'm also neurodivergent, so I have to work very hard on making sure that my productivity levels are high, that I'm looking after myself, I'm feeding myself properly. And actually, a lot of that stuff that I've had to use on myself has been so beneficial in the work that I've been doing with my clients. I'm very high performance focused. And I wrote a post about this recently. And if there's one thing that you take away from today, it's that high performance is not this difficult, unattainable, unachievable thing. It's actually about coming down and back to basics. And I talk about this so much until I'm blue in the face: drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, eating well, prioritizing, organizing your space. These are all high performance tactics. For some reason, as human beings, we love to overcomplicate things. Just put a yes in the chat feed if you know you like to overcomplicate. I hate time wasting. So being sat here in this situation right now, talking to you about how you can make the most of this session and who I am, I feel like we're wasting time. It makes me feel very uncomfortable, and I've had to train myself to do this. So I'm not a fan of time wasting. I promise you, as soon as we get started, you will be in with a kick. I love nature. Nature is a very important part of my life, especially water. I love being in fresh water. It gives me everything that I need to replenish. It's a big part of my self-care. And I am a massive believer in quality over quantity. I cannot state that enough. It is really important in everything that I do in my business. And my core focus is eventually the vision. It's bigger than me, it's bigger than my lifetime. Equality in entrepreneurship. A big part of my nervous breakdown was around the fact that I lost my identity, becoming a mum. I was very career focused, very driven. And I do believe that women have a really difficult time when it comes to accessing funding, not having the kind of emotional support that we need, not having the physical support that we need, or medical support that we need. You get the picture. But the mission, the way that I do that, is by empowering female founders to build brilliant businesses. And I do that in all sorts of ways, which you don't need to know about now. Okay, so we're going to get cracking. Grab a pen and a piece of paper, and I want you to answer these questions, giving yourself a score from 0 to 10. So it's really important that you read each of these questions in turn and you answer them and a score from 0 to 10, honestly. And once you're done, I'd like you to pop a chat in the chat feed with a yes, done. And I'm going to catch up with the comments that are coming through. Okay, so question number 1. Very straightforward. I know what I need to prioritise between now and the end of the year. Question 2, I'm clear about how much time I've got until the end of the year. 3, I trust myself not to get distracted on my targets for the end of the year. 4, I have communicated my biggest challenges with my team and my nearest and dearest with the upcoming 90 days. I know why I am doing what I'm doing. What a question. I feel productive. I am confident I will stay on task. I know what will get in my way. I have accountability in place for when I get in my own way. And number 10, I'm prepared for the next quarter. Rhoda and London, it's been a long day today. It's really good to see you here. I've got my messy hair at the back, but we don't care about messy hair. We're happy with messy hair. I've gone for my Bavarian German look today. Thanks, Rhoda. Okay, and when you're done, just put a done in the chat feed. And actually, just for good measure, pop your number from 0 to 10. So not 0 to 10, like the 100 percentage. You've got 10 questions there. Out of 10, give me the average of those. You get your calculators out, folks. Making you work tonight. Okay, Rhoda, let's see. Am I saying your name right, Rhoda? Let me know if I'm not. Let's see if we can improve this score tonight. So that's what we're aiming for. I love to see progress. I love to see it from start to finish. And sometimes with coaching, it really, really is difficult, so difficult to see a tangible outcome. So wherever I can, I love to get a tangible outcome in there. Excellent, Rhoda. I'm glad I'm saying your name right. That's fab. 70. Okay, good. Love that. Amazing stuff. Right then, let's get them in from the others in the StreamYard link. When you're good. Okay, next slide. Take a quick screenshot if you haven't got the questions. There we go. Okay, so this session is going to focus on getting clear on your targets, on getting clear on your time, and getting clear on traction, which means forward motion and progress. Put a yes in the feed or in the comments of this live if you have ever bitten off more than you can chew when it comes to a goal and you have set something and you're like, oh, okay, no, I'm not going to be able to. Yeah, okay, we've already got yeses coming in. We all do it. And that's because goal setting is an art, setting targets is an art. And you need to be very self-aware when you're doing this so that you're just not constantly beating yourself up. So we have to look after ourselves when it comes to setting targets. And we have to be kind to ourselves as well. That's really important. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get really clear on this number 1, what the targets are that we want to complete by the end of the next 90 days. And I want you to write down no more than 3 core projects that you've got going on at the moment. So in your notebook, this is where we focus on the necessity rather than on the bits and bobs and the busy work. We need to get really clear by writing down no more than 3 projects that you've got going on at the moment. And in the chat feed, just put a yes if you can identify 3 things that you've got going on that you know you need to be focusing on. So for me, I've got the Female Founders Summit in November. I've got an ad campaign which I need to set up for the Confident Content course, which is pretty tricky. And I need to do an immersion session with a brand new company who's bought the empowerment program. And I've got 90 days to do those 3 things. So Lisa's saying yes. Let's get these written down. Matty's saying yes. Good. 3 projects. Rhoda's saying yes. Awesome. I'll give you a minute, London. Okay, awesome. So we are all creatures of habit, and we tend to create busy environments for ourselves by plugging things to do when actually we're not always prioritizing what needs to be done. And so it's really important, ironically, when you're feeling quite stressed about how much time you've got, like the next 90 days, you need to take a step back, assess in the way that we're doing, and by taking that time out, you actually give it back to yourself. It's a really amazing thing that happens. The planning is so critical to making you feel a little more in control, even though we know we can't control everything. So we've got our 3 big projects. And can you just imagine for a moment what it would be like if you were to focus on those 3 things and only these 3 things that mattered and got them done? Would you feel better? Just put a yes in the chat feed if you would feel better if you were to focus on these 3 things, really understand them and do them better. Yeah, exactly, right? And this work that I'm doing with you is no different to what I do with me, my team, my high performance clients. It's exactly the same work. And by the way, kudos to you for turning up, because not everybody does. And there's a big difference between the people who do and the people who don't. So well done. Okay, so you're now going to see the 3 projects split up. So before we were looking at, we've got 3 projects that are distinct. And now we're looking at project 1. So I want you to focus in on project 1, maybe on the book that you're working on, whatever it is that you're using. Write the name of the project 1 and underline it, because we're going to go into that in a little bit more detail now. Okay. I want you to identify the 3 major things that need to happen in order for that project to be complete. Okay, so I'll give you the Female Founders Summit as an example. It's on the 4th of November and it has a lot of moving cogs, and my brain struggles to hold everything in place. We have one of the big parts of that project is making sure that all of the contractors have the information that they need. So the speakers have the information, the cellists have the information, the food, the people who are catering have the information. All of that is clear, in order. They're all paid, and they are all looked after. So one of mine would be contractors, and ensuring that they have all the information, that they're all paid, and that everybody knows what they're doing. Another area might be customer service. So a big area, making sure that the people who've bought the tickets know where they're going, get the best experience that they possibly can, by ensuring questionnaires, by making sure that they have their needs answered. And another big part of that project might be the delivering of the masterclasses. So the 3 masterclasses that are being delivered by myself and the other 2 speakers. So what I want you to do now is to figure out, and it's funny how your brain will automatically rationalize and compartmentalize these 3 different areas for that project. I want you to write down the 3 sub-projects, the little mini projects inside that first project. Just give me a yup in the chat feed if you know exactly what it is that you're doing. Love it. I'm checking in with Rihanna to make sure that everything's okay on the live stream. Okay, and what I want you to do is in the chat feed write project 1 done, so that I can see that we've all done project 1 and we can move on to the next project, so that I can decipher between the yeses in the chat feed. It's great to see project 1 done. Brilliant. It's great to see you all working through this. I love it. Brilliant. Amazing. Great work. Okay. So now next to each of those 3 things, there are specific tasks that you know that you need to do, that you need to get like out of your head and onto paper. So I want you to go through each of those 3 bits of that project, and I want you to bullet point the specific tasks that you need to do. So we've got 3 layers here. We've got all the projects, and we're zooming into project 1. And we've got 3 areas of project 1, and you're writing out the specifics. So I know I need to do a video with Leah, I need to do a video with Carrie, and I need to put that online. That's all part of the masterclass stuff. So that's something that I have to do for the second element of my project. And once you've done that, I'd like you to pop done in the chat feed. Okay, so just pop a done in once you've gone through. I can see everyone working really hard. It's great to see it on LinkedIn, to see it in the StreamYard as well. Fab, Lisa, brilliant stuff. Lisa, just pop in the chat feed. What's one of your projects, just so that I can get a little feel for what's going on for the group, so that I can see what we're all doing. That's fab. Love it. Rebranding. Oh, that's so exciting. Oh my God, I love a rebrand. So exciting. I can't wait to see. When you come out with everything, make sure you tag me in it so that I can have a good mooch at what it is that you're doing. I love that. Excellent stuff. Okay, so we've got, most of you are done. I'm going to move on to the next one. You can always come back to this. Remember, if you don't finish everything off, make sure you just set time aside to getting this stuff complete. So the next one, you know what's going to happen, right? We're going to move into project 2. So now I want you to write the second thing that you identified, the second big thing. In traction, he calls it rocks. So you've got 3 rocks that you're completing for the end of the year. So we're on our second rock, our second big thing. I want you to write that down, underline it, and then I want you to compartmentalize, and your brain will find a way, 3 separate areas that you can assign to this project. And here you're going to pop project 2 done when you've finished. Okay, so I want to see a project 2 and done in the chat feed when you're finished. Nice, Rhoda, Lisa, great work. Super quick. Rhoda, I can see you. Hey, I can't wait to meet you in November. It's going to be great. I'm so excited to meet you. It's going to be fabulous. Okay, Matty's done, Lisa's done, Rhoda's done. Don't worry, London, you take your time. Folks on LinkedIn, take your time. You know what's coming, right? I want you to go through and I want you to bullet point the specific tasks that you can think of for this project. So I want you to go through, London, let me know. Oh, you're done. Brilliant. I want you to go through and I want you to bullet point what are the specific tasks for each of the 3 bits that you've compartmentalized. I'm going to do a little behind the scenes video so that people can see what my setup looks like, which is quite ridiculous, really. Okay, get them all bullet pointed out. Lovely jubbly. And again, you can come back to this. You've got it there on your piece of paper. You know what you're doing. Let's move on to project 3. Same thing, write it down, underline it, and allow your brain to create 3 segments for this bigger project. Allow your brain to do that lovely compartmentalizing. And I don't ask you to do this just because it's fun. What we're doing is we're quite literally sieving through your thinking, and we are creating order in an otherwise really quite chaotic feeling of what you've got to do. So with each step, we're sieving through one little bit more until we get quite granular. But what happens is we start leaving out the unimportant stuff. It's fascinating how the brain works when we do this. So you've chosen your 3 areas, and I want you to just put project 3 done in the chat feed when you've chosen your 3 different areas, please. Nice, Lisa. Done. Matty, you're such a rebel. Such a rebel. Matty's got company. Lovely. London. Great stuff. Okay, and now you know what's happening, right? You're going to bullet point the specific tasks for each of those mini projects. So just get your brain in order. If you feel like you're going a bit fuzzy and you're distracted, shake it off a little bit. You're only spending another, what, half an hour doing this. So from the top of your brain, from in your mind, because it's all in there, even though we feel forgetful, allow yourself the time to let it come up. Because the important things are there. You've got to trust yourself. Bullet point these out. Okay. You see what we've done, right? So you can go back and you can fill in the bullet points if you want to. But what you have got there is a clarity on the targets that you need to complete, and you've sieved through the different compartments of those projects. So what I want you to do now is to write in the chat feed just a word, the feeling that you have about these goals, these targets that you set for yourself, these 3 things that you have said you are going to do. Is it a positive thing? Is it a negative thing? Let's just get a handle on how you're feeling about what it is. Okay. Breathe it in, Rhoda. Breathe it in. Because this is what can happen sometimes. We set ourselves these targets that are absolutely massive, and they are far too big for us to chew. They really, really are. So the next thing that we have to do is we have to get clear on our time. Who here, we've got positive but overwhelmed, excited, we've got scary, we've got some different vibes going on. Who here feels like 90 days is a very short amount of time? I want to hear if you think it's short or not. Put short in the chat feed if you think it's short, put long if you think it's quite a long time. Because our perception of time directly correlates with how overwhelmed we are, how stressed, how much to-dos we've got, or how many to-dos, I should say, we've got on our list. And it is really telling when people feel that time is running out, when there's that tangible ticking clock, that actually what you need is to get some real perspective on the time that you have, and to take a step back, take a deep breath, and get focused on the reality of the situation rather than the emotion of what's going on. Because I guarantee in your life on this planet, you have had deadlines that you've set for yourself that you thought you weren't going to meet, and you did. And I can guarantee too that there have been times where you have set yourself an arbitrary deadline and you haven't managed to meet it. And guess what? Your world didn't fall apart. So the emotions that you've got about these targets, about these 90-day goals, are all about the stories that you are telling yourself, and which stories you choose to hold on to and which stories you choose to let go of. If you choose to decide that this 90 days, you are going to understand the time that you're spending, you're going to be really clear about what it means to be productive, and you're going to take time away from doing work when you know it's not productive, that's when the magic happens. So you get to choose your own story. You get to create your own story around your belief and your perception of how much time you've got. And to emphasize that, we're going to do the timeline now. So between now and the end of the year, do you know how many weeks there are? There are about 11 to 12 weeks, depending on where you're counting from, because we're kind of midweek today. And so this, oh, I like that, London, doable, thinking of the action more, short but doable. Hopefully it will bring the results that I'm hoping for. Yeah, hopefully it will. We've got fingers crossed. We're going to make things happen. If you do something towards what you want to get done, it's better than doing nothing at all. But if you push yourself so hard all the time, you'll end up burning out and you'll get nothing done eventually. So we need to make sure that we are being high performers, that we are looking after ourselves and our time and being really good leaders of ourselves in our time management. So we've got about 11 to 12 weeks before the end of the year. And I'd like you to just, on a scrap piece of paper, draw this line out and section it with 10 or 11 weeks. I give myself and I give my team quite a bit of time off over Christmas. So I've got 10 working weeks left until the end of the year. And I want you to section yours out so that you know when you're leaving. And the first thing that I'm going to ask you to do on this timeline is put in there any big personal or professional events that you've got going on. So, for example, in about 3 to 4 weeks, we've got the Female Founders Summit. That would be a big one up there in or between week 3 to 4. And I would just have that probably above the timeline. You put it wherever you want to. You've got your own artistic discretion and direction going on here. You can put it wherever you like, but I would have that as a big thing in that week because all of my focus is going to be on that project during that time. Let's say you've got big birthdays or you're traveling, that needs to go in there because you're not going to be doing the work that you would normally be doing whilst those big things are happening. So hopefully you've got your Google Calendar out, you're looking at your timeline and you're mapping that in. Awesome. And now I want you to look at the projects that you outlined in the initial part of this workshop, the 3 projects that you've got. And if you have got any of those projects with fixed deadlines, so maybe you're accountable to others for getting them finished, you're not just creating your own arbitrary goal for the end of the year, but the ones that have got a fixed deadline, I now want you to put those projects in for completion, but a few days before they're due to be complete. So just roughly sketch it out. If we were on Zoom, I'd be able to do this on my iPad and show you. Just get your map from your head onto the paper. So an example would be here. If I had a project that was due to finish in week 6, one of the projects that we outlined before, I would have it as needing to be finished in between week 5 and week 6. So I put a big line between there and I'd write project 2, whatever the title of that project was, deadline, and put the line there because it's the absolute deadline. Put done in the chat feed if you have done that with all of the personal and professional things that you've got going on, and then any fixed deadlines. Everyone's concentrating so hard. I love it. Okay, let me know when you're done. I don't want to rush you on this. Well done, Lisa. Excellent, Rhoda. You're all doing really well. Great, Matty. London, fab stuff. And those of you watching on LinkedIn, let me know when you're done. Great work, everyone. Awesome. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to create some self-imposed deadlines, because what you've got now are the squeezing points. So if you look at that timeline, you've got little hurdles or blocks where you're not going to have a lot of time because you've got a project going on, or because there's a birthday celebration or whatever. So you need to have that visible to you in front of you. And now what you need to do is you need to self-impose some deadlines from your project list. So I want you to decide when you want certain arms of your project. So within each project, you've got 3 categories. So we've got 9 categories overall. And you need to aim for completion of those 9 categories by putting them on the timeline. Put a yes in the chat feed if you're with me and you know what you're doing. So you're picking these segments and you're artificially imposing a deadline for yourself and putting on that timeline, this is where I want to get this done. This is what I'm aiming for. Lisa says yes. Let's hope Lisa's not the only one. Nice one, London. Thank you so much. Awesome stuff. Okay, so this is where the brains are really like working hard, because you've got your 3 projects. And in each project, you've got 3 segments. I color code this. I'm just such a stationery nerd. It's ridiculous. So I color code this when I'm doing it for myself. I do it on my dining room table. I get it large on a big, large piece of paper. But again, you know, this isn't exhaustive. I've just done something that takes an hour. You can go away and you can go a little bit further into this if you want to. And when you're happy with your timeline, when you feel like you've got a bit of clarity over your projects and popping them in on your timeline, I'd like you to put timeline done. Okay, so timeline done is what we're going to have in the chat feed. Feel free to ask any questions if you've got them. Timeline work in progress, got distracted, we'll continue tomorrow. Not a problem, absolutely fine. We're going to move on to the next bit, which is all about traction. With your highlighters, Rhoda. I knew you were a woman after my own heart. Here, look, there's never a time where I am without my packs of highlighters or stationery. It is quite ridiculous. I have a very large box that I take with me to all of my facilitating sessions. It's under the table. I'm not going to crawl under there. But honestly, it's magical. It's magical. I could open my very own paper chase. Done, says Lisa. Awesome stuff. Well done, everyone. Okay, so what we've got is a rough idea. And by the way, we are whizzing through this, but this is by far and away the best principle that I have used with my clients, either when we've been working on teams or when we've been working on our own, when we're dealing with overwhelm, to really understand the time that we've got between now and the end of the year. So I told you that we would get clear on our targets and that we would get clear on time. Can you see, put a yes in the chat feed, can you see where there is very clearly an instance or areas where you know time is going to be super tight? That time, you have to look after yourself. You can't expect to be doing absolutely everything during a time where you've got loads of stuff going on. So you have to see that and understand and be a little bit self-aware about how much energy you're able to bring to the table. So that's why getting clear on time is actually understanding, right, between now and the end of project 2, I've actually only got 3 weeks. So I now need to prioritize the things that I need to do for project 2. And we're moving into the segment which is all about traction and all about prioritizing. So what we do now that we've got our project 1 key targets, you need to know how you're actually going to measure your progress for each of these projects. So I want you to imagine now that you've maybe got a clear sheet of paper for project 1, project 2, and project 3. And I want you to create, let's start with project 1. We're going to do this together now. Start with project 1. I want you to write down what are the clear measurables that you have achieved what you said you were going to achieve. So I'll use the Female Founders Summit as an example, purely because I've just done this for the Female Founders Summit. I've just done the 90 days planning for this. And one of the clear measurables is obviously ticket sales. By a certain point, how many tickets did we need to sell to make sure that it was viable? By a certain point, how many tickets did we need to sell to make sure that we could donate some of that to our charity partner? How many tickets did we have to sell to make sure that we were able to pay the contractors, for example? What are your measurables? So for project 1, let's get those written down. We've also got measurables for the Female Founders Summit for 5-star reviews. We've got a target for how many 5-star reviews we want from that event. These are all the different measurables that we can think of to get that in place. So I'd like you to go through now, and I'd like you to write down for project 1, what are the measurables? It could be something like, I've posted about it 5 times between now and the project end date. Like anything that gives a number. But make sure you're measuring things that are important to the project, not just for vanity metrics. In Lucienne Coaching, the Academy, the Collective of Extraordinary Women, we don't monitor followers because follower increase is not a direct correlation with revenue increase. So you have to be careful about what you are actually monitoring and what makes sense to monitor for your business. Okay, so that was number 1. And I'd like to see from some of you who are here some of your examples of your monitoring of progress. So if you could just put a couple of examples in the chat feed, let's make sure that these are quantitative, so we have got numbers next to them and they are really easy for us to engage in and monitor. So I've got 3 on the LinkedIn feed, so I just need to check that. There we go. We do love a bit of stationery, Rihanna. We certainly do. Awesome stuff. So let's see from Lisa, London, Matty, Rhoda, from those of you who are watching over on LinkedIn, just one of the things that you might be measuring. So it might be your cash revenue that you're measuring. You might be doing a launch and you might be measuring how many people sign up. You might be doing an email subscriber following, measuring. Having a new logo finished, colour palette complete. Yeah, Lisa, nice. Okay, so you have got 1 new logo and you have got your colour palette complete. Those are 2 measurables. Tick, tick. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, nice. She's like, phew, new website live by week commencing 21st of November. Oh my gosh, we've got some really exciting stuff going on. We've got websites, we've got branding. I get really excited about branding. It's a miracle that I'm not in that industry. Honestly, it is. That's super exciting. Rhoda, make sure you let me know when that goes live so that I can go and check it out, as well as Lisa's new branding, which sounds awesome. Yep, so one new website live, tick. Okay, these are big things that you'll be ticking off, and wherever you can find measurables, you need to get them in. And then I'd like you to do the same, please, with, it's like I'm juggling, literally like I'm juggling, with project 2. So you've got project 2, your 3 different components for project 2, and I'd like you now to list out what are your measurables for this. So ticking it off, what means that it's actually complete. Review efficacy of my lead magnet and create a webinar. Okay, awesome. So let's find the numbers for the efficacy of the lead magnet. What does that mean? How many people? Where are they coming from? So the efficacy might mean I've got 5 new signups from LinkedIn. Like, really get clear on the numbers with that. Create a webinar. Awesome. So a measurable, it's been a long day, a measurable for the webinar might be how many signups you have, obviously how many attendees you then have from the signups, and how many conversions into whatever it is that you're either selling or you're promoting at the end of that needs to be added in as well. Excellent, Matty. Awesome stuff. Bet you didn't think you were going to get a proper workout this evening, did you? Bet you didn't think you were actually going to come and do some work. If there's one thing that I pride myself on, it's of the ethical nature that we do business. And if we say that we are going to be providing support in a workshop, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So we're not dangling carrots and beating with sticks, something that I'm very, very proud of. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing with project number 3, but before we do, I want to see some of your measurables for your second project. So let's see what it is that you're measuring for your second project, just so that I can be a bit nosy, really, to be honest, but also quite seriously so that we can see that we're on the right track in making sure that we're monitoring things that we actually can see. And it's so great to see those of you on LinkedIn. I know we've had a few technical issues, but thank you so much for joining. Well done you for putting the time into actually getting this stuff sorted. Love it. Tax returns. I wondered if tax returns was going to come somewhere, turn up somewhere. She's shaking her head. Create a new ad campaign. Oh my gosh, that's one of my big projects. I've just hired a new ads manager and team, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to have more success. I've kissed a few frogs on that front. So we've got our fingers crossed. Launch offer, what that will cost, and deadline. Excellent. So turn that into numbers that you're actually measuring. So new ad campaign up and running. How many different ads do you want to have running, and what does success look like? So cost per lead example, can you get numbers against that? Just get really, wherever you can, get really clear on the numbers. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Rhoda. Awesome work. Love it. Okay, I can see myself here like 2 minutes behind. And it's quite confusing. So the people who are commenting on LinkedIn, commenting back, but it's probably a little bit too late for them. We'll figure it out. One day I'll have a really big tech team and they can do it all for me and I won't have to do it anymore. And then the last one is project 3. Obviously, I want you to go through and do exactly the same thing. I want you to map out the key measurables for each of these areas that you actually want to measure by number. So what are you going to be ticking off? What is that lovely green box? When we have our team meetings, we have a to-do list and we have an issues list, and we get a lovely green tick icon and we copy and paste it. And the feeling of that is just so good. So good. Such a good dopamine hit. Cool, Lisa, it sounds like an exciting time for you. Very exciting. Okay. Now, what I would like you to do is I would like you to grab a piece of paper, for like a nice clean sheet of paper, because we are going to make sure that we overcome any hurdles that we know are already going to happen. So I want you to write down on this piece of paper what is going to stop you from achieving project 1, 2, or 3. What do you know about yourself? This is called my holding back strategy. What is going to hold you back? You know this about you when it comes to completing these projects. So break them down: project 1, project 2, and project 3. What do you know about you is going to hold you back? Are you going to become bored? Are you going to become disillusioned? Are you going to create a brand new thing that wasn't even on the plan in the first place? Are you not going to look after your health? Are you not going to exercise? Like, what is it that you know you're going to do because you've done it before? You're going to get all excited about something and then get scared about investing in it. Or maybe you're going to have these really grand plans and then you're going to shy away from actually doing it. Like, what do you know about yourself when it comes to these 3 things? Maybe you know you're going to procrastinate on choosing that color palette. Whatever it is, you know yourself better than anybody else. Yet so often we're told that other people know better. Here's the thing about a great coach and mentor: they will give you advice when you need it, but they will know it's your strength that they need to really grow with you so that you can build that intuition for yourself. Once you've written down what you know is going to hold you back, I want you to put done in the chat feed. Procrastination. Yeah. Don't we know it? Don't we know it? I'm trying something new with an NFC, not an NFT, an NFC, which is a little disc that you can code for productivity. I'm going to have a play with it, and then I'm going to share that with my community, because what you can do is you can just hover your phone over it, and depending on how you've set it or you've coded it, it will start a timer, play a specific type of music, maybe turn off your notifications. It's really super clever. I saw a video on it the other day. So when it comes to procrastination, which I know so many clients of mine suffer with, little hacks like what I was just talking about is a really good way to help. Okay, everyone is done. Fantastic. Awesome. Right, you've got what's going to hold you back. And now I want you to ask yourself, and those of you who are watching this who are in the collective know this question really well: if you were your own high performance coach, what would you be telling yourself about those hurdles that you've written down? If you were your own high performance coach, what would you be telling yourself about those hurdles that you've written down? And I want you to get really clear now on what impact it would have if you don't achieve these things. It might not be the end of the world, in which case it relieves a little bit of pressure. But for some of you, it might mean another 90 days where you haven't done what you said you were going to do. And how many more 90 days are you prepared to let that happen? So you have to be honest with yourself here, and you have to answer, what impact is it going to have if you don't get over those hurdles? Okay, we're due to finish in a second. So I'm going to ask you again. I want you to go through these questions and I want you to score yourself from 0 to 10. 0 being not at all and 10 being completely. You're not going to have jumped a huge amount, okay, because this is just the beginning. But I want you to go through them all and then I want you to put your score in the chat feed so that I can see whether or not we've made progress or whether or not we feel like we've still got a lot of work to do. Question 1. I know what I need to prioritise between now and the end of the year. I'm clear about how much time I have until the end of the year. I trust myself not to get distracted. I have communicated my biggest challenges to my team and my nearest and dearest. I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. I feel productive. I'm confident I'll stay on task. I know what will get in my way. I have accountability in place for when I get in my own way. And I am prepared for the next quarter. Let's see your score in the chat feed. Amazing, everyone. Love everyone getting involved. It's awesome. Ooh, Lisa, what were you before? Let's have a little look at what you were before. 70 and 86. That's not bad. That's quite good. Okay, brilliant. So you need to ask yourself what needs to happen. Yes. So the questions 3, 7, and 9 are the lowest questions, and there's a reason for them being in there, right? Because actually, if you were all really really focused, really productive 100% of the time, you would get this done. You would do this. But these 90-day rocks, if you are feeling overwhelmed, they are where you need to start. I am not a believer in planning for the next 10 years. It is completely pointless. This is why we talk about having a 10-year vision, so that we are thinking about what we want in 10 years' time, so that we're not just wandering aimlessly about, but we can't set those plans in place because they become very grey and shady, and sometimes we change, right? We change as human beings. So the 90-day rocks is a really important way to actually plan for your year, and I do it like this every single quarter. A 1-year plan is very important for anywhere from a micro-sized business, so bringing in revenue of under 1 million, having less than 5 staff, to a small to medium-sized business. The 3-year picture, you really only need to start thinking about that once you are verging on that, moving into small business level. Small business being having between I think it's 10 and 50 employees, and bringing in less than 10 million, I think, is what the definition is of a small business. So at the moment, for those of us who are micro business owners, we have to make sure that we have these 90 days in place, and we have to hold ourselves to account. And I'm going to let you know that you can be part of a free community, which absolutely fulfills that accountability. It's just whether or not you are prepared to commit something that you are not actually investing money into, because as we all know, people who don't invest their money aren't as likely to invest their time. But we have got a really committed group of women who don't invest money, but they support one another with their accountability, and it's run by my community manager, and I coach on a Monday and Friday. It's a really great thing to be part of. So if you don't trust that you're going to get this done, and if you don't feel like you are going to be asking yourself those questions and holding yourself to account, the next thing that you can do is be part of the community for free. I'll pop the link in the chat feed, or I'll tell you what, just message me if you want the link and I'll send it to you. That's absolutely no problem. The other thing that you can do is you can prepare yourself for next year. The academy is currently closed to new people. We're running the cohort as we speak, but you can join the waitlist for the academy next September. That is a payable part of one-to-one coaching and group coaching, but again, we don't open that until next September. Or there's the Female Founders Summit. But I'm recommending for those of you who are watching this for free, who really need that community so that I can fulfill my mission and my vision of equality and entrepreneurship, get yourself in that group and get yourself held accountable. I hope that this has helped you all. We've gone slightly over, which is very rare for me, so I must have been having a really good time. Please use this as an example for what you can be doing to chunk down and make more manageable what's going on in your head. We've got 65 to 89. That's incredible, Matty. That's absolutely fantastic. Don't do this and then forget all about it. Use this, have this in front of you every single day. And if you've got any questions about how we can support you with accountability, please let me know. Right, everyone on StreamYard, you're bloody brilliant. Well done for coming along. Awesome stuff. Thanks for joining me. Great to see some of the family and the dogs joining us too every now and again. And on LinkedIn, thank you for joining us as well. I'm going to go and finish my cuppa and prepare for tomorrow. Take care, everyone. See you all soon.